How's it going, everyone? Brett Mix here, Macho Wrestling 101. It's Saturday again, so another in memory of video, but I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to speak about Savage and what he meant to me and my experiences with his death rather than a biography video, because I figure he's well known and you all know his life pretty well. Firstly, I just also want to say thanks to anyone who's made my little channel grow even a little bit. I really completely appreciate that. Some say celebrities, wrestlers, icons can be overpraised, overrated when they die. Whether that's due to empathy or sympathetic experiences they feel when looking back, knowing that you're never going to see this person again. That could be true for various reasons, but even if it is, there are still people out there who knew what they had when they had it, that never took this person for granted and always appreciated them, even if the said person was a recluse in later years and you didn't see them on TV every week. See, I grew up not just a fan of the Macho Man, but he was the first wrestler I ever saw on TV, and he captivated my 5-year-old self with his promos in the late 80s and made me a huge fan in school during the 90s. And he got his start in the mid-70s, which I'd look at later in life. He wasn't just a superstar or a wrestler. He was just a pop culture icon to me. He was larger than life, just like the Ultimate Warrior or Hulk Hogan, but for whatever reason, I was a Macho Man fan. In later years, post-wrestling, where Savage didn't show up anywhere, wasn't invited back with open arms to the WWE like everyone else, I grew more and more interested in the guy. I thought, how cool that this guy doesn't need the spotlight, and over, that's how he saved his money, living a carefree, lucrative life, unlike others who appear anywhere and everywhere during their shtick till they're 80. Randy remarried and wanted a low-key life. He didn't even want a funeral when he died. It was those years before he died, though, that I spent days before or after my workouts watching old Savage promos from the 80s, rewatching all of his gems from Memphis, bringing back nostalgia, childhood memories, bottled discs of which carried matches from Memphis with Lawler, Dundee, the Rock and Roll Express, and so on. From 2007 to 2010, I was watching this guy daily and just loving the nostalgia, watching being in awe of his awesome promo skills and laughing at his funny ones. I kept curious as to why he wasn't in the Hall of Fame and made a stir about it online in the message forums in the mid-2000s. To me, he should have been inducted in 2004 with all the others, so it puzzled me, and I had heard all the rumors. We eventually got the real story from Lanny. Whether people want to believe him or not is their business. I personally believe him. Judy Poffo, his mother, even confirmed his story that Randy wanted it in as a whole family. If the Von Erichs were all going to go in, Lanny later said, then he wants the Poffos. Lanny said that Randy said that. And what's more important, Lanny thought, eventually. He thought, what's more important, the opinion of the Macho Man or the Macho fan? And they decided to finally do it in 2015 with Lanny's blessing. Before that, it wasn't just Savage preventing his induction. They had countless number of opportunities and years to induct this man while he was alive, and they chose not to. It was just a start that they just released a DVD on him not long before. Even if it was just matches, not a documentary, it was a start. Seeing him do a commercial in 2010 for Mattel was giving me hope, and saying that 2011 was the Macho Man's year gave me a kick that something may happen, but then it all ended before it all could even begin. That's why on May 20th, 2011, I was at the gym on an elliptical machine, listening to music while watching the sports ticker on the TV screen of my elliptical, when I read, breaking news, former WWF champion Macho Man Randy Savage dies in car crash. I was almost at the end of my workout, but my legs almost buckled on the elliptical because I grew angry. Angry now, knowing that he would never see his Hall of Fame induction. It would have been so easy to do, but they never did. Not even when he died, they still took 4 more years. If the Ultimate Warrior's death proved anything, it actually a quote from Lanny, his brother, was real. That life's too short to hold a grudge. It's time for us to heal. That was the quote from Lanny Poffo during Savage's Hall of Fame induction, but that's if the Ultimate Warrior's induction the year before taught us anything, it's that. But for whatever reason, it never happened, and it was never going to happen now. Not a while alive. People can say, who cares? But we were robbed of that awesome potential speech, and he was robbed of the ovation he should have got that all the fans, we could give him his due. That's why Randy Savage chants rain out right now. That's why it mattered. I remember my phone blew up that day as everyone knew what a fan of his I was. I was angry. I actually quit reviewing WWE pay-per-views on WWEDVDnetwork.com because I was promoting WWE stuff with the reviews, and I didn't want to be promoting WWE after this. I regret doing that now. Maybe it was childish, but I was mad. Then I got sad thinking we were close to a comeback, but it just never came. On the morning of May 20th, 2011, Savage was driving his Jeep Wrangler near his home in Seminole, Florida. His wife, Lynn, was the passenger seat, and he became unresponsive, telling her he felt like he was going to pass out. He crashed into a tree. Lynn had to actually grab the wheel while Randy's foot was on the accelerator and swerve over a concrete median to avoid a big bus. So she was a hero, saving lives at the time of the death of her husband. Paramedics arrived soon later and found him dead at the scene. He was just 58 years old. Savage and his wife had been wearing seatbelts. She suffered only minor injuries in the crash. An autopsy performed by the medical examiner's office found that he had an enlarged heart and advanced coronary artery disease, more than 90% narrowed, which had resulted in a sudden heart attack. The drugs found in his system included a prescription painkiller, a small amount of alcohol. Savage had never been treated for heart problems, and there was no evidence that he was even had a heart condition. The cause of death was officially ruled as ventricular fibrillation. 5 days after his death, Savage was cremated and his ashes were placed under his favorite tree on his property in Largo, Florida, near his mother's development. 10 days before his death, he asked his brother to pour his ashes of the dog in the same spot. When asked Savage's brother why, Savage stated that it was because he wanted him to remember that spot, since he wanted his ashes to be poured there as well. He said, "If it's good enough for the dog, it's good enough for me." Lanny Poffo eventually inducted him, as I mentioned, in 2015, and a proper Macho Man DVD with a documentary came out earlier that year. Today, Randy's legacy grows. He was a multiple-time world champion in both big companies, a central part of the 80s and 90s boom periods, and one of the top 10 names, arguably, in wrestling history in both fame and all-around talent. Macho Man is still a pop culture icon today. He is more than just the Slim Jim guy, even though he still today is that. He appeared in several films and television shows, many talk shows, where he made more than just a guest appearance. He was a very good ball player, playing on the farm team of the Cardinals back in the day. He had 2 marriages, one with Lynn, whom I spoke of before, and the other with Miss Elizabeth, who was an integral part of his image in both the WWF and WCW. He was a devoted family man and treated his parents like gold, and he did as he did his little brother, helping him get into the WWF. He spent a lot of his time helping sick kids live better lives by visiting them, even if it's off camera. It's just who he was. He lived his gimmick and made the world a better place. Today, his impact is still felt, even though we hadn't made a WWE appearance since 1995. That's almost 30 years ago. To not make a WWE appearance in 30 years and have this kind of fan support is absolutely amazing and shows what a legacy he left. At every show today, you still see Macho Man shirts and even impressions of his "ooh yeah" by several WWE superstars, because this guy was just larger than life. He will always be remembered, and he will be impossible to forget. All we can say now is rest in peace, Macho, and the beat goes on. I'm Brett Mix.